Hey everybody, welcome to a live stream. My keyboard finally decided to start working. I had to plug it in and plug it out or whatever, but at least I'm live now. God, technology can be such a pain. Hold on a second, let me see if I can figure things out here. Takes a while whenever I haven't done this. Welcome to Break the Cycle with DSD. I am your host, Duane. I am not an attorney, nor am I a therapist. I'm a guy like you guys. Been through a tough experience, came up with some things that work for me. I share with you to help you get your life back, minimize the effects of a toxic relationship, and help you repair your life and the relationship with your kids. Remember, only a licensed professional can diagnose somebody with a personality disorder, so don't go around telling everybody that you figured your ex out and you know what they are and they have this and they have that. Don't do it. It just doesn't help you. It hurts your credibility and just potentially makes things worse. If you really like what's going on here, you can be a channel member and hopefully interact with me on our member-only section. But when you do it, you get custom badges, special emojis, actually special badges, custom emojis, name listed in the credits, member-only events, and access to other things. I've been wanting to try to do another one of my Zoom call things with everybody on the member side. I just haven't done it. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. I thought I was going to leave town this weekend, but the weather has had a different idea. If you want to get notified when things like this happen, be on that short list and get a direct message to your phone or to your device, you can text DSD Live to 844-598-0012, and when you do that, you'll be added to the DSD SMS mailing list. Pretty exciting stuff. I think I'm going to try to turn this on. If you want to participate in the show, you can call in. I'll turn this on a little bit. Numbers 1-424-373-5483 or 1-424-DSD-LIVE. And I timed it perfectly. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Oh, thanks. Thanks, T-Solo. First super chat of the day. Thanks. Oh, you didn't say anything, though. Yeah, well, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. I like this. John says, Duane isn't a doctor either and didn't play one on TV. That would be a true statement. Anyways, how's everybody doing? What do we got? We got a couple people here, 24 people so far. Oh, you know what? I didn't actually turn the phone line on, or did I? Did I turn the phone line? No host connection. Please connect host. All right. I'm going to grab my whiz-bang phone here, and I'm going to go to my favorites. I'm going to dial into it, and yep, you can hear it. It's dialing in.
Thank you for calling Collins Studio.
I'll just let that play. Why not? You guys get to see the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Welcome, host.
Welcome, host. You are now
in a host room. Studio web interface.
Anyway, so if you guys are interested, that is the phone lines if you want to dial in. I'm thinking I'm probably going to just delete this live stream like I have been doing lately. The last one I did, for anyone who's watching right now, I said I was going to remove, and I did. I do appreciate the handful of people who reached out to me on Epic, on Fortnite or whatever. I've had played a couple of rounds with some people. That's been kind of fun. So let's see. Up Your Food Game says, this is like a reunion. Duane and the usual suspects. Hope. Whoops. All is well. 24 people. How many likes? I don't know. I'm not sure how many likes. Hard to say. Oh, look, Debbie even was able to jump on today. That's cool. And I forgot to tell her that I was going to do this. Anyways, so let me see what we got going on in the comments. Everyone's just kind of chilling out. How's everybody else doing in the world and their weather? I mean, I know California has kind of fake weather, but man, the wind has been blowing. I wonder what the weather is here. Let's see. I wonder if I can look it up. Whoops. 48 degrees. That's what it says it is right now. And the wind is blowing like a banshee. I was even going to pull out my drone today and put it up in the air, but nope, not in this weather. I made some coffee. My daughter gave me this for, when is it going to focus? Oh, I got to cover my face. Oh, there it goes. My daughter gave me that for Christmas, I think. So, oh man, James is out there. Hey James, how you doing? Haven't seen you around in a while. Actually, I haven't seen anyone around in a while. Seems like I hardly ever do anything anymore. T Solo says, currently me and the ex have 50-50. My daughter is 15. She tells me that her mom has been verbal, abusive, and she now wants to live with me. What do I do? Do I go back to court? T, I tell you what, man, in this situation, the only way I would go back to court is if you are 1,000% sure your daughter would actually say that in court. And then you also have to, well, I mean, that's kind of the main thing. Because if your daughter recants that change, and I've known people who've had this happen, where their kid says, oh, I want to live with you, Daddy. Actually, this happened to a buddy of mine that I work with. His daughter said she wanted to live with him. So he's like, okay, mashed the button, filed, did everything. And the ex was able to convince his daughter to change her mind. He went to court. She said, well, no, I don't really want to do that. I just said what I thought he wanted to hear. He lost a ton of money in court. And while they were there, since we're already here, let's go ahead and reevaluate child support. So his child support went up. So you got to, I don't know, man. T, that's a tough one. You hate it whenever it does that. You are going to have to really think about that one yourself, right? And you more than likely know what your daughter really means, right? I mean, oftentimes we want to hear that. I mean, for instance, I'll tell you, there was a period of time a couple of years ago where my youngest was making comments like that as well. And a short year, a year and a half later, 2 years after that, that has completely changed. And things are pretty stressed now. So let's see. Cool cup. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that, man. John says, snowstorms and freezing cold here in Boston and 41 degrees. And it's a heat wave. I was watching this YouTuber I follow who does drone stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm going to take my drone up. I couldn't do it the other day because it was negative 20. But today it's 20 degrees and it's nice. And I'm like, 20 degrees is not nice. I have another friend of mine that I asked, I always get confused where he lives. Let's see. I think I finally loaded it so that Minnesota. What is MN? What state is that? Minnesota? No. Minnesota? Crap, I can't remember. Anyways, I'll phone a friend. I'll ask you guys on the chat. Anyways, I was talking to him the other day. And I said, man, what's it like to really live in places with weather? Because I've lived in California most of my life. And when I wasn't in California, I pretty much lived in a desert. And so it's basically, very rarely rains, very rarely snows. It gets hot and it does get cold. I mean, but not like, like super cold. Very rarely does it freeze or anything like that. And then he called me the other day and left me a voicemail, left me 2 voicemails, basically just telling me how effing cold it was. And it was like, no, you don't want to come here. Just stay where you're at. This weather sucks. It was pretty funny. John, after 3 years, I finally was awarded full custody. Now this, man, dude, that is outstanding. I'll tell you what, if you want to chat a little bit about it, call in, or if you want to come on video, let me know and I can share the link and you can come on. I'd love to hear your story and how things are going. Only caveat is if you are still actively in litigation, then coming on is probably not a good idea. But if you're interested, that is outstanding. Good for you. I was just talking to someone the other day about they're early in the process. They're just a couple of months into it, and they were talking about custody and how the system's biased against men and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's a bias against the person who's able to strike first and who has no morals and ethics. But I've seen fathers get custody. I've seen fathers get custody in California, and it does happen. So it's it's not. Don't. I guess the message for everyone out there is do not just accept defeat out of the potential hands of victory. I would imagine John probably thought that this would, I don't know, maybe he thought this was would happen. I'm not entirely sure, but I would say most people feel like they're going to get crushed and they don't. And if you would have given up, well, I'll tell you what, let me back up. That's the way I felt. I felt that I was going to get crushed in this whole thing, that the likelihood that I was going to be victorious was unlikely, I guess to put it nicely. And had I given up, I would have never got 50-50, right? And I didn't know what I was dealing with until later, so I didn't know how to approach it, and I approached things wrong. Maybe had I had a DSD channel that I could watch that would have or could have helped coach me through this, maybe I would have had a better outcome. Not entirely sure. Now, let's see, I'm missing. Oh, John says, I don't like going to court and letting a judge make a decision. It's usually worse for everyone. That is true. It's almost like they take pride in the fact that, hey, let's just make this as painful as possible and make sure no one's happy. Almost as like they want to try to keep people from going to court. Anyways, just really frustrating. The problem is, let me just go ahead and do this so it's up on the screen. The problem is that when you are dealing with a toxic, narcissistic person, they love the fight. So for them, it's not a bad thing. For them, they enjoy the chaos and the consternation. I hate that word, actually. I had a boss who used to use it all the time. It was like his favorite word. Anyways, so yeah, just crazy times. Let's see, what is up your food? Up your food game has jumped off. You might have already done it. It says, good night to you kings of New England, you princes of Maine, and DSD. Yeah, he's in England, so it is, what is it, midnight there? Or I get the time change confused sometimes. All right, John says, Duane, it will never be over. Get your documentation in front of a judge. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day as well, saying the problem with these people is they don't stop. They continue the drama. We changed the way we interact with them, but at the end of the day, they don't stop. And the sad part is if you have a judge who thinks that at some point everyone will just wake up and start co-parenting, typically that is what happens, right? In a normal messed up divorce, people calm down. But the reality is, in our situation, it'll be like in my situation, 10 years later, or I think it's 10 years. I think I'm rolling up on 10. You have a situation to where it doesn't get better. It gets better for you. You learn how to not get triggered by or provoked. Maybe that's a better choice of words, by the actions of the ex. But they don't stop. They're like a Terminator. Oh, cool. I do have a call coming in, so I will grab that after the call screening process is over. I wonder if I think I forgot to turn on the caller ID thing. Let's see. What was it? So now I'm waiting. We're standing by. We're standing by to stand by. And I'm coughing. I apologize for that. You know what I need? I need a ticker. I need a ticker that has the phone. Who thinks I need a ticker? Let me know. Let me see if I can create one. Can I do that? Can I do that live while I'm trying to? I don't even know what am I doing here. What am I doing? Let's see. What if I go like this and I say I want to add text and I say the phone lines are open, and I got my preview screen over here. So let me do this and say, go like this and say 424-373-5483. And I think that's the normal font I use. Let me make it a little bit bolder. How about bold? How about real bold? How about heavy? I don't know if that looks stupid. I'll go back to bold. I think I got to shrink it up. Scrolling ticker. And then we say add. And that looks absolutely horrific. So let me try that again. Here, let's do a background color. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing this. I'm entertaining myself right now, I guess. I apologize for that. Okay, that didn't work. Let's go like that. Oh, there we go. We'll go like this. Then we'll change the font color. We'll change the font color to how about a white? And then we'll say save. I don't know if this is stupid or not. I'll say publish. There we go. And then we'll go back to live. All right, so that should have been enough time for the phone line to do its thing. So let me flip this around. All right, cool. Let's see here. What if I do this? Okay, that didn't work. Let me try it this way. Hello, welcome to the show. Uh-oh.
Hello?
Hey, it does work. All right, how you doing?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Duane. Thank you.
So tell us about your story, man. That's pretty exciting. I'm sure it was a hard-fought victory.
I would tell all the men out there to go with their gut, if they think what they have to say is right, they have to get in front of the judge. Don't necessarily go with what DCYF has to say or your guardian ad litem has to say. Get your case with your copious documentation in front of a judge and lay it out. If I did that the first year, I might not have had to do it the second 2 years.
Yeah, you definitely have to hit it. You have to hit it hard in the beginning. But even still, so how were you able to turn this around and actually get the custody change, if you don't mind me asking?
Problem is, in the beginning of these things, the he said, she said nightmare.
Yep.
And the judge doesn't know who's lying.
Yep.
And if your narcissistic ex presents very well and is on script to the GAL and all the DCYF workers, they can be bamboozled by their narcissistic ways.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, after it cools down and there's aberrant behavior over a marked period of time, you just make cases. The biggest thing I can tell all the men that have narcissistic wives that can't keep their stuff straight is to use the Freedom of Information Act to gain all police, fire, and medical reports at your ex's address. Then you can find out that, they couldn't keep their stuff straight back when they lived with you. They certainly can't keep their stuff straight now. You can also access all the DCYF records and bring all the reports in under seal, but I don't know how many of you can take the amount of time I did, but it was a tremendous amount of work over a long period of time to do these things. But without the police reports and the DCYF seal reports, when the judge read those things, it's no longer he said, she said.
Yeah, excellent point. That's actually great advice.
I I still had the guardian ad litem tooting on the stand that she was the better parent when the judge was listening to all the evidence and said, "What are you talking about?" He kept turning toward the guardian ad litem and saying, "You read these police reports and they weren't concerning you, huh?" So I mean, you just don't know. I mean,
that's funny. You know, but I mean, you approached it right? I mean, instead of just doing it on raw emotion, you got the data. You were able to present it in a concerted, I guess, manner, and just make it obvious. You know, and you're absolutely right that at the beginning of these things, the judges don't know who to believe, and they're just waiting for somebody to implode on themselves to either figure out whether both people are knuckleheads or one side is. And it sounds like you were able to you were able to demonstrate the picture of what was really going on. And was it not just 3 years, but was the whole process 3 years, or was it 3 years whenever you finally got focused on what you were going to do?
It was 3 years and 3 months from the time the mess started.
That's, you know what, man,
and then it was 2 years.
Go ahead.
It was 2 years after the first final parenting plan that I got to 50-50, and I kept was being told over and over again, that's what every father wants is 50-50. I go, well, how about all the stuff she did? And I was told that it's not enough. I couldn't get any more. And
now, who told you that again?
Unfortunately, that's legal, guardian items, and just general stuff. But watching channels like you, Duane, and I've been with you for over 3 years, and I've been with many narcissistics channels and court channels to learn about this stuff. And there was one channel that said the Freedom of Information Act to get the reports, the police reports, because police reports are defining. There's no contestation.
Right.
So, I mean, without a channel like you, especially you, because you focus on the kids aspect, and I have 3 kids. Other narcissist channels don't focus on that, and you learn things. But narcissists keep doing the same things that they've always done over and over again. And if you know that, they leave trails where they live.
Oh, yeah.
And they've had police visits at their house, and if you get that information and it's significant enough, you can go in and try to, present your case again.
Well, and I think what you just said is a good example of, I was talking to someone about this earlier, about not giving up, right? I mean, you had people telling you, oh, you're not going to get any more. It's not risen to the level, but you stuck with it. You went through the process, and now you have, so when you say you have full, I mean, does that mean you have 100%, or did it switch to like 80-20? I mean, what's your custody arrangement now?
She gets to see the kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays from after school, which is 3:00 to 6:30 at night. And then she has every other weekend from Saturday at 9 to Sunday at 2. So she's got 2 overnights a month.
Wow. Well, she basically, I mean, it's almost, I'm sorry, go ahead. She did what?
Oh, no, she's got the father's deal, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, see, and I mean, it's sad you're in that situation. It's sad any of us are in this situation, but I like hearing when fathers do prevail, right? There is so much negative information out there about how it never works out, how, the dads always lose, the system's rigged. And I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, you had to fight your butt off to get this, but as long as you're diligent about it and you stick with it and you don't make the mistakes that I talk about, you don't hand the ex a sweeping victory, then you have a really good chance. I mean, and in a situation like in what you're talking about, where your ex is constantly making really bad mistakes, like in my situation, she wasn't making really bad mistakes, but you can leverage off that. And then like in your situation, 3 years later, boom, custody change. I mean, so the kids still get to see their mom, but now you have, now you're the custodial parent, and you get, I mean, your kids are in a better spot. and things are, I'm sure they're still not easy, but I'm sure it's a lot better.
No. You got to focus. The family court judge only cares about one thing. What is in the best interest of the child? He doesn't care about, your dynamic with your ex and all the crap that happened. He cares about, from today forward, what is the best interest of those children.
Yep.
And if you can demonstrate your ex is not doing the right thing, and you can demonstrate it very well, things will change. But, 3, 4, 5 months before that, I sat in a meeting with the GAL who completely had a different opinion. And I said, you got to be kidding me. That's the scariest statement I've ever heard in my life. I won't repeat what she said. But these people that are in this world, this court world and this child advocacy world, they don't always make the best decisions because they meet with your narcissistic ex and they get gaslighted and smoke showed by her.
Yep.
And then they don't know.
Yep. Man, you're spot on, I mean, and you had a great example because your GAL in your situation was still saying, oh, custody needs to be the other way. And had you not presented the information that you did, the judge wouldn't have said, well, wait a minute, you're not, what have you read this? I mean, that wouldn't have happened if you didn't have that information and you hadn't presented that story in a way that the judge at least could follow.
Yes, you're right. Without police, medical, and DCYF documentation, I would have been sunk.
Yeah. Well, sweet, man. Anything, what else? I mean, any other little nuggets of wisdom that you think would be important for people out here listening to know or think about?
People say keep a notebook. I keep a Word doc on my phone and I add things as they happen. That way it's a quick reference. When something happens, when she sends you an email, make a copy. Put it in a paper file. That way when you're going to court, you don't have to start printing off your phone. It's already there. So it's faster. Have 4 copies of everything because the judge needs one, the opposing side needs one, the GAL needs one. If you're going to go back to court, you've got to be ready because it's something. And I had to present evidence for 15 hours over a 4-month period in court, 4 hours at a time,
wow.
4 times, 5 times to get where I was. So you have to be incredibly organized and stay on point. And the way you have to present evidence is you have to present it through a witness. So if you have police reports, I presented them to the GAL that I handed them to. So she said, yeah, I had them. So I presented all the police reports through the GAL, which was excruciating for her on the stand. So you have to form questions. You can't just self-testify. You really want to ask whoever's on the stand the questions about the evidence to get it into evidence. And it's a different thing. Now that court's opening up, I advise a father to go in there, or if they can watch any family court TV to get a thing, because it's not like LA law or anything like that. It's a different animal.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, thanks, man. That's outstanding advice. Let me ask you this: how did you learn all this stuff? Did you find it on on YouTube, or did you go just observe court? I mean, how did you learn it?
The police report, I picked that up on a channel. I forget who it was.
Cool.
The evidence thing, my attorney who advises me in the background, because year one was $20,000 with her because I didn't know anything, and I self-represented for the last 2 years. It's expensive. Just keep watching channels, keep doing Google searches, keep doing YouTube searches for topics, and keep learning as much as you can.
Outstanding. Hey, man, thanks for calling and sharing. I appreciate it. And congratulations again.
Thank you, Duane. You've been infinitely helpful to me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I'm glad I've been able to do that. And that right there, what he's talking about is the reason why I'm going to make sure I didn't hit the wrong button. The reason why I did this channel, right? I mean, when you're trying to go through this and you're trying to figure it out, I was talking to someone the other day who is dealing in a situation where they're trying to explain this to other people and they just don't get it. And you end up going through this thing so alone. And like the last caller was talking about it, there's not like a crash course to tell you how to deal with this. And you're kind of left, no, you're not kind of, you are absolutely left on your own to figure this out. So, man, congratulations. I'm going to do this again because that was awesome. I love hearing that. I saw somebody, Tim, had said, sometimes all the documentation does nothing, but let's celebrate the success. And then the Wise Chat Manager had also said, never give up, just pause and resume. A lot of times it's not over until we get up. Give up, sorry. And the sad reality is this is kind of a similar mantra that a toxic ex uses. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and they don't stop. They don't ever get tired of it. And the sad reality is that, if we give up, then they ultimately win. All right, let's see. What did I miss in the comments before I go to the next caller? Jason says, hey, Debbie D, thanks for all the hard work behind the scenes. Absolutely. Thank you. Let's do a little bit of a applause for Debbie jumping on. I think we got a couple of moderators on. I think Debbie's a mod and Wise Chat Manager's a moderator. James is. So we got a couple of moderators on. I have to scroll up. Oh, and Up Your Food Game. So we got a few moderators out there. All right, whoops. Okay, that dropped off. Let me try my nifty button and see if it works. And it did not. So let me see here. I got to try to hit the reset button. That did not work. Why is that not working? Stop. Reset. Man, it looks like one of my macros has failed me. How annoying is that? All right, hold on. Let me go to the next caller. Let me try to go to the next caller. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hey, Duane, can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
Hey, this is AJ. I actually did the live stream with you last time. I'm the guy that said that my ex left me about 6 months ago, and when she left, she accused me of being a narcissist, which she's probably the narcissist. So she was the one that made false allegations and tried to take more custody. My lawyer and I called her bluff, and we're in line for 50-50. We're almost done with the divorce. Dealing with another issue right now is schooling, and that was the topic that I left on the phone message. So the issue is that I don't want our kids to continue in the same school. It's a private school, private Christian school. It's a hybrid in-class homeschool.
Yeah. And
we had homeschooled our kids, for most of their life. The problem is I don't want them to be there anymore because the man she basically left me for is also a parent at that school. And so she basically has another set of kids in that school. I just want to disentangle myself from this other guy and just put my kids, I signed them up for some charter schools. The lottery picks are going to come up in a couple days. I keep messaging her through our family app, asking her, I need your opinion on this. Are you going to agree to pulling the kids out of the Christian school and putting them in a charter school? So she's basically stonewalling me, and I think she's just going to run out the clocks that way. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I talked to my lawyer. We're going to get a parenting coordinator, but she says that that's probably not going to get in place for another 3 weeks or so. And by that point, I wouldn't be able to sign up for the charter school anymore. The time would have run out.
Yeah, she's more than likely what's going to happen. Well, more than likely what's going to happen is your ex will not respond to you, force the issue, and you are going to have to take it to court, unfortunately. You're going to have to probably get a judge to say yay. I mean, yes or no. I mean, you guys probably have 50-50. You said 50-50, right?
Yeah.
So 50-50.
Yeah, right now, and then that's what the divorce decree is going to end up being, basically.
And just to clarify, that also means you guys, decision making is 50-50, right? Correct?
Say again, the what?
The decision.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was, is decision making is also 50-50, right? So the problem is
joint physical
and joint legal. Whatnot. Okay. So here's the problem. This is what she's thinking. And legally, this is where you're at, is you both have to agree to move the kids into a different school. And all she has to do, I mean, she's got the like veto privilege. Well, you both have veto privileges, kind of, right? If she wants
I don't have to pay tuition at that school. So that's kind of the end of that.
But well, what does the court order say?
The court order isn't requiring me to pay tuition. It doesn't address the school at all, basically. It's that we accepted agreement on schooling. But my lawyer advised me that no judge is going to force me to pay private school. I mean, if we're going to send them to, public school, just wherever our local schools are, then it's going to come to that. Although I'd much prefer a K through 12 charter school, so all our kids could be in the same building.
Yeah.
But that's where she's stonewalling me. She won't respond to that.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to just run it out, and you're more than likely you're going to have to go to court and say, hey, we need to make a change. Now, the benefit you might have is that if you don't have to pay the private school and she can't, then that means they have to move to something else. That'll force the issue. Then you're kind of in a stalemate to where, what am I trying to say? I mean, it's like what she would probably do is just try to put them in another school. Can she cover the private school payments on her own or not?
Not on her own, but if she is in fact with this other man, he will probably do that. He will probably cover it because he already has 6 kids in that private school already. And
wow,
essentially what would happen is that my kids would basically go on under his account, I guess, if they were to remarry or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the private school works is that, after like the 4th or 5th kid, essentially every kid after that is free. It's kind of like a full discount.
So she could, I see what you're saying.
This is just all my speculation.
So, I mean, the reality is, the reality is you're trying to do it right. The likelihood that she's going to agree with you is probably 0, just because that's what these people do. And what she's doing is exactly what I would expect, just ignoring you because, she doesn't necessarily have to respond because her answer is no. And if you really want to push it, you're going to end up having to go to court and, make a case on why this is the best decision. But also keep in mind, if you do that, if you go to the court route and let's say she marries this guy and she falls under this, I mean, their family argument is going to be, well, the kids are all going to this school. Why do we want half the kids going here to there? And that's what they're going to try to say. And if it's not costing you anything, they'll probably, like you just said, well, we don't want any more from Mr. Smith or from you, Mr. Caller, and it's not a big deal. So if he's worried about you know what I mean? So, and the reason I bring that up is you just have to be aware of that, so you understand the potential risk, and then just make the best decision, right? I mean, if you really feel like the kids need to be, and I get it, dude, I understand what you're saying, man. But if you really feel like this is super important and it's worth, fighting the battle for and potentially losing, then you do it. And if you lose, then you just say, okay, I did everything I possibly could. It didn't work, but you need to think through all the nuances, right? I mean, whenever, so that's why I was talking about the fact, like what's their counter argument? What story are they going to come up with to say what you want to do is not going to work? And you can't just base it on what your logic is, because they never, ever, ever
have to think like her.
You have to think like her. Yeah. I've seen so many people who think they have their ex, backed into a corner, and they go to court and then they walk out of court going, oh my God, I didn't even see this thing come out of left field until it happened. And then it makes sense. So that's what you have to do. You have to look at it and say, okay, well, she's not answering you. Know why she's not answering you, right? So you're trying to force the conversation, which is good. She's not answering you, which is what I would expect from a toxic, narcissistic person. And then now you have to just say, okay, well, if I push this, I'm going to have to go to court. I'm going to have to get it in front of a judge because you guys have 50-50 legal custody, which means nobody can trump somebody else, right? You can't do it. She can't do it. And I mean, and technically if they pull out of the school and that's a complete change, then it, makes it even more of an issue. Then the judge would have to look at it. The problem you have right now, in my opinion, or my thought process, is this is the school the kids are in. This is what they're used to. This is what the plan has been, and this is kind of what's going on. She's going to come back and say, oh, well, this is what they know. The best interest for the kids is to stay stable and not add new stuff, and it'll stress them out, having to switch schools and all this crap. I mean, that she's going to say that, and you just have to weigh. It's like, okay, how do you make your choice or your preference, I guess, make it seem more palatable and more in the best interest of the kids than hers? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, the way I went about it, as far as when we told her and her lawyer, we did it over a Zoom call with my lawyer, that we're not going to agree to send them to this private school anymore because I simply can't afford it anymore. I mean, with
and what did they say to that?
Split, and also, they said, well, what if your spouse is willing to pay for half of the tuition? Well, she just said earlier in the call that she's not working right now because of trauma. So I'm like, well, I mean, for one thing, I don't know where you're going to get the money, but second of all, I'm not going to be able to save up for college for these kids. I'm not going to be able to do anything else except just paying tuition for these kids perpetually until they're adults.
Right.
So when I told them that I'm looking at charter schools, I'm entering these charter school lotteries, her lawyer said, well, you could do that, but my client has a right to not agree to that if they end up getting chosen for one of these schools. And so that's where I'm kind of in limbo right now. I've been trying to message her and say, hey, can you just give me an indication of if you're even interested, or if you would even. Well,
she's already. I mean, they've already told you. They've already told you they're not interested, man. So I mean,
yeah.
And the other attorney was absolutely right. All she has to do is say no. Now, the difference is you're not ordered to pay. Excuse me. You're not ordered to pay the private school or half of it or any of it, as from what you said.
Right.
So they can't force you to do that. So that's where it gets nebulous, right? I mean, because it's like, okay, well, because technically, if she said, hey, no problem, I'll pay for all of it. Well, now that's just status quo, right? So nothing's changed. You're not, right. You saying you don't, I mean, obviously there's more reason why you don't want to do it, but you're using the reasoning of money. And if they take the money thing off the table, then you don't, everyone's going to look at it and say, oh, okay, well, you don't mind anymore. They solved the problem, so you're good to go. And that's exactly, dude, that's exactly what's going to happen, more than likely.
I'm
gonna
go
ahead.
Together with my lawyer, and try and resolve this with the lawyers at least, because she's in no contact mode with me essentially, except talking about drop off and pick up of kids and stuff like that. So getting her to talk about even deeper subjects, even with regards to the kids, she'll stonewall me and she won't talk, just to kind of like run out the clock, like I said.
Oh yeah. Well, and to drive you crazy, right? So, I mean, you have to minimize. I mean, the crazy part is you have to minimize your interaction with her as well. And because I will tell you that if she knows that she can push your buttons by doing absolutely nothing, she'll do it. And I mean, and that's like the easiest. Yep. That's the easiest way to inflict pain on somebody. And if they can see that you're responding and it's freaking you out and it's making you, you're sending messages all the time and the attorney's trying to do something and they just know, oh, Billy's just squirming on what, a worm on the hook or whatever. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's one of those things where she's got, you almost need to find a way to get into that mode. The thing is with the school thing, you have to ask yourself, how important is it? And I know the reason it's important is because you don't want to make it easier on her. You don't want your kids interacting with this other guy's kids, you want to kind of have some separation. Well, I don't want to
interact with them either.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying.
I actually had a confrontation with him in the parking lot not too long ago. I'm like,
with him,
I don't want to keep seeing. Yeah, I don't want to see him during a school pickup. I'm like, I don't want to see him during school assemblies. That's happened. I'm just tired of this.
Well, but here, okay.
I just want to disentangle from it.
And unfortunately, the likelihood that that's going to, I mean, you're going to have to come up with a different argument, right? Because everyone's going to think, I mean, when I say everyone, I mean the court, they're going to think, and your ex is going to paint the picture that the reason you want to do this change is what you just said. Even if you don't say it, they're going to try to paint the story. I mean, and we all know that that's what's really going on, right? So if you want any success in this, you are going to have to come up with a really good reason why the kids need to be in a different school. And now, if money is an issue to where she can't afford it and he won't cover it, that's a path to take. But again, the problem is, and what you just said is, if they got married, is that what they're planning on doing? Is that what it looks like it's heading toward?
That's some of the rumors I've been hearing, but she won't admit that she's been with this guy.
Yeah,
but she is.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's say hypothetically that happens, right? So now they're married. Now, the kids are his stepkids as part of that family, and he can just add them on to, the bill he's already paying doesn't go up. Effectively, it goes down. And what I would imagine they would try to do in that scenario is they would try to get it ordered that you have to pay half, but that's just, so that's kind of what you have to anticipate. The reality is, again, I would work with your attorney as well, is like, how do you come up with a good argument of why those kids shouldn't be in that school? And here's the reality. Even if you moved it, if they're together and there's a school assembly, he still might show up. I'm just here to support my stepchildren, I mean, it's
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a downer.
Friend of mine.
What was that?
Yeah. He was a former friend of mine, and the reason why my spouse left is because I was having questions about their relationship, and she left, and she's basically partnered up with him. And this guy, basically stopped being my friend, threatened me if I came and see him again, and basically just, took my wife and family.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I mean, this is, and it's one of those things. It's like a sucker punch all the way around, right? I mean,
yeah,
you lost. Yeah, I mean, your best friend screwed you over. Your wife has screwed you over. Your kids are caught in the middle. They're trying to. I'm sure they're probably saying, oh, Daddy, guess what we did? With Billy. I mean, and it's just like you have to sit there and smile at while they're sticking you in the eye with their little smiles on their face, and they don't understand. It's a tough go. You just have to. Here's my concern for you. If you don't really think through your whole battle plan on this, and you don't understand the potential for loss, and you lose, it's like a triple sucker punch, right? And
sure,
so I want you to understand that. Now, if you understand it and you understand, okay, hey, you know what, my probability for success on this is probably pretty low because I understand what their move would be, and we've kind of discussed that so far on this call, then you can. And if you decide it's still worth it, I'm still gonna swing for the fences on this, then fine. But what I would hate is for you to do this. You think you have a good argument. It's like, okay, it's too expensive. We don't have the money. We're gonna put him in a charter school and it'll be great. And then you go to court, you dump, $5,000, $10,000 on court fees and attorneys and everything on the table, to ultimately have it written in the court order that the kids are going to stay in the private school. And it's going to be a sucker punch unless you're ready for it. And I've had coaching calls before where people are like, kind of a similar issue. It's like, oh, I had this one guy who called up and he's like, or called me, we were doing a coaching call, and he's like, hey, ex has moved the kids into a different school. This is totally messed up. I don't want to, this is like, this is a line in the sand. I'm going to fight it. I'm like, okay, well, this is what you need to do. And then, we had another session, a few, like a month or so out. And the guy was just like, oh my God, I've dumped $6,000 all on the ground. This is going nowhere. He's like, I don't even care about this. And I'm like, oh, geez. I'm like, dude, seriously? And that's the thing is that you really have to understand what the risk is. And I'll tell you, you probably have heard me say before that there's certain things I haven't fought. And partly it's because of that. It's like, okay, is this really worth the emotional cost to try this, to try to achieve what I want to achieve? And most of the time I come up with the answer being no. So you just have to ask yourself the
Right.
question. I mean, and the reality is like, okay, what are you personally trying to accomplish? Like I said, we talked about this. Then you have to look at it and say, okay, what's your potential for success? Or even if you did succeed, is it going to solve the problem? Like I just said, I mean, more than likely, Billy is still going to be showing up for school assemblies. And you're going to be sitting, you know, it'll be Billy X, your child, you know, and, you know, and I didn't have the extra person there, but I've had to deal with that crap. You know, I mean, so it's like, you know, are you really going to, you know, what are you going to achieve? So you just have to, if you feel like you really need to go for it, man. But just understand how you're fighting and what your opportunity for success. And I'll tell you, from what you said so far, you haven't really articulated a really good why it's in the best interest of the kids to not continue to go to the school they're going to, right? You understand what I'm saying?
No, I understand that. And other people have said that to me as well. But I mean, I believe my kids are resilient. I mean, they switch schools like every other year, and you know, I you know, at least the charter schools that I looked at are top notch. They're like top in my state. So, you know, from an educational point of view,
and that right there.
Really well.
Okay, so that what you're talking about right now, that is the answer. It's like, you know, hey, it's a higher rated school. It provides them a better opportunity. If the charter school is, you know, full-time in person and the other school, I think you said is a hybrid, you know, there's that consistency. You just have to articulate it in a way of why it's better for your kids, because they're going to try to say that it's not. And if you can do that, then you put it out there and, you know, I mean, because see, here's the thing. If they turn around and they go, well, we want the kids to stay in this school because it's easy. Well, then that's not in the best interest of the kids. That's in the best interest of them. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's a good point. So yeah, I'll definitely write that down as, you know, as one of the reasons. But I mean, this is what I want to do, but I understand what you're saying, that there's the potential to lose on this is.
Yeah.
Is
I mean, there's a potential. I mean, like the other caller we had, I mean, everyone was telling him that he wasn't ever going to get full custody, and he got full custody. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to lose. You just have to understand the battle. You have to understand how you're going to approach it, understand what their counter moves are, and then make the best decision for you and the kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. Thanks, Duane. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Chat with you later. All right, let's see if this button works this time. It still didn't work. What the hell did I do wrong? Dang it. Drop call. Oh, I click in the window and it worked. Okay, so I'm doing something wrong. So I think I have another caller here, but let me look at some. Oh, but my little live caller thing didn't go off. My what do you call it? My technology is not doing what I thought it should do. Let's see. Oh, I like this. Tim says, argue cost quality of education with the hybrid and the sort. So, and again, what we were talking about is, hold on, I'm trying to read. Okay, so I'll grab that in a minute. Hide comment. Tim says, DSD getting any camping time? No, man, I was going to do that this week, but like I said, the weather has been not great. You know, I mean, at one point I was like, you know what, I'll just drive out in my desert and set up. But when the wind's blowing, you know, at 25, 30 miles an hour and everything's getting sandblasted and stuff, I don't really want to, you know, that's no fun. Because you can't light a fire because it'll blow it all over the place. And even I think where I used to go that's close to me, that all burned to the ground last year. So, plus they've had it where, you know, fire bans and everything. And I think it's still closed. I think from the area I used to go all the time, I think is burnt up. All right, let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to, oh no, is that in the queue? No, that's in the queue. Okay, so let me see if I do this. Next caller. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hey, Duane.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, how are you? Thanks for what you do, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your listeners as well. I'm in a tough spot right now. I just want to hear another opinion.
Okay.
Things are heated, and, you know, pretty much the bottom line. My spouse checks all the narcissistic traits, every box, and border personality disorders as well. There's no diagnosis, no nothing, but from the research I've done and all that. The thing is, we have a 6-year-old together, and a while ago, out of the blue, things were not going good, but like she came to me and she was like, I know you cheated. I know you did this. I know you've been going out on dates, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was just like lost and confused to find out later on. She was doing exactly what she was accusing me of.
God, that is so common. I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, that's like that. I did. I'm sorry. I laughed, but I laughed out of just like frustration.
What is going on? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got a hold of all conversations, pictures, and all that, and I'm talking to a lawyer soon, Monday. But the thing is, as I said, we have a 6-year-old together, and the person she's talking to, like she's talking to multiple people, like 5 or 6 people that I could see, like as back as I can go. But the problem is she's with someone, she's talking to someone that's one quote unquote settled down with. Like his wife ran away from him. He had 6 kids. He's 5 years older. He doesn't have a job. He's basically a loser. And from the conversations I looked at, they just like fell in love 4 or 5 days after they met. They're talking about marriage. They're talking about weddings. They're talking about how madly in love they are with each other. And it's been like less than a month.
That's common, man. I mean, I know it hurts like hell, but it's that's kind of what these people do, right? Their lives are just chaos. Let me put it to you this way. Oftentimes what happens is if you're excuse me, you're a great guy, right? I mean, you did everything you're supposed to do, good provider, you don't do anything bad, that type of thing. It's like fundamentally these people don't feel like they deserve it, so they sabotage the situation and they find someone to give them what they think they deserve. So I've heard a lot where people are like, "Oh my God, she's with a loser." Well, of course. I mean, it's like the illusion the fantasy that was created with your relationship is blown apart at the seams, and then they create their own drama. I mean, honestly, I hate to say this, but probably the best situation for you, not necessarily for your kids, is that she does find somebody else and does get, married to him and, can just start like separating things from you, I mean.
Right, Duane, but that's not my problem. I don't care about anything in the world.
Okay.
Like my problem is my daughter.
Right.
Like, in the conversation, like this relationship, I know for a fact, 100%, it's not going to last. Like, it is not going to last. And the thing is, she like already introduced my daughter to this dude she went on dates with him, with my daughter. That's the thing. And he has kids, like, opposite sex, the same age as my daughter as well. And they don't look like they're a stable family. And they're talking about moving in together in a house. They're trying to find an apartment. The dude lives with his friends. Like, we started our life from scratch. I started a successful career. I'm 5 years into my career right now. Like, I started from zero, from the bottom. And now we're getting close to be like, making 6-figure income. And she went to the dude with no job. And that's not my problem. I don't care about the dude. It's not his fault. He's thirsty for attention. And finally, he got attention from somebody.
Right.
He will go for it. He doesn't give a shit. Excuse my language.
No, I hear you.
My problem is they're moving in together, and that's detrimental to my daughter.
See,
like,
here's the
thing. Know anything. One last point. I'm sorry.
I hear what you're saying. Here's the reality. Okay, the only way you can prevent something like that is you have to get it written in the court order, right? And the reality is, let's say you were done and your court order's done, and you have no say of what she does in her house, who she brings in the house, what she does with your kids when she's with that. Unless it's illegal, there's nothing you can do about it. If she decides she wants to, hey, you know what? I've decided I want to hang out with Hell's Angels. And, every time, they're staying at the house and babysitting your daughter whenever she's gone, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. That's part of the reason why I made that black hole thinking video, because there's going to come a period of time to where you have no say. Now, however, if you have some information that let's say you get a private investigator or somebody that says Bill has these problems and you want to make sure that he's not around your kid, at the beginning, there's some things you can do. But for the most part, and it's the same thing. Finish this thought. The same thing for you is whenever you decide to do whatever you're going to do. Now you're looking at it from what's in the best interest. You're actually looking at it from what is best for my 6-year-old daughter. So you're probably like, I'm going to have a stable home. I'm not going to introduce, a new woman to my daughter every other week. I'm not going, until if I get into a relationship, if that ever happens, then once it's solid, I'll do, you're thinking along those lines. You don't have to.
Right.
You could turn around and have, every time you see your daughter, leave her with a different person, and there's not a damn thing that your ex is going to be able to say about it. And I understand how frustrating this is, and it's not nice to hear, and it's not good information, but it's the truth. So if she moves in with this guy and this guy has, 3 boys, and I know what your fears are, and this guy doesn't seem like he's got, any common sense or whatever, and you're probably thinking, oh my God, my poor defensive little child, my poor defensive little girl is going to get abused and have these negative experiences, and there's not much I can do about it. And the reality is there's not much you can do about it. Maybe as your child gets older and if things start to really deteriorate, and if she comes to you and says, Daddy, I love my mom, but this is, this chaos is driving me crazy. I want to live with you. Then you have something you can do. But a lot of times kids won't do that because they love you. They love mommy. Or worse, it's actually worse when you have boys, because then they feel like they have to be the protector whenever there's a douchebag in the picture. But you got to just be careful on this, dude, man. I understand where you're at. I understand what your frustration is. But the reality is, have you talked to your attorney about this?
No, Monday. I'm seeing my attorney Monday.
So
but the thing is, I know that's not going to last. Their relationship is not going to last. Some things.
You know what, dude? Hold on a second. Let me just tell you this. The best case scenario is if this relationship lasts. Because if this relationship doesn't last, and you're probably right, because they typically don't, that means she's going to bounce to another guy, do it again, and your daughter is probably going to see a new guy in the house every 6 to 18 months. And there's
I don't want that to happen. That's the thing.
You can't stop it. The best you could do is try to get the most custody you possibly can. If you have some argument, you said you guys are early in this, right? So do you even have temporary orders right now or not?
No.
Okay. Then you need to swing. So your best scenario is to swing for the fences, but here's the problem. You swing for the fences. You say, I want full custody. She's an unfit mother. Here's my evidence for it. You are going to look like a bitter ex that is doing that just because you can't get over the fact that she's found someone else and she's moving on. That's exactly what they're going to say, and that's the story they're going to try to paint. The only way to circumvent that is if you have serious amount of documentation to demonstrate that there's a pattern of behavior that is negative and hurtful for your child. And you have to have a solid argument on it. Like when you talk to your attorney on Monday, that's what you need to be thinking about. Now, if this attorney just wants to take your money, they'll say, "Oh, sure, yeah, we can, we'll do this, and you'll be successful. Here, give me $10,000." Or that they'll tell you, if they're honest, they'll tell you what you would really need to make that happen. Now, again, I don't know if you were on this earlier when we had the other caller who won full custody. It is possible, but that guy on that call, and I guess you could roll it back if you weren't on earlier.
I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, he had a methodical record of everything that was going on. Plus, she was making a lot of mistakes, and most people don't make a lot of mistakes. They make a few, but they don't make a lot. And he was able to leverage that. Now, that you would have to ask yourself, is there enough information that you can prove that it's a similar situation? Let me ask you this. Do you have enough information to show that you should have full custody? Not emotionally, but I mean, like a neutral third party could look at it and say, oh, okay, yeah, this story makes sense, and I see what he's saying, and the information's all laid out. Do you have that?
It could be hard. I do have some. Yeah. I do have, but yeah, I mean, I'm just lost.
And dude,
I could provide some decent, legit evidence. Yeah. Not emotional, real. And I know the guy.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I know the guy he has a record. He has a record
of what? So, if he's got a record of molesting small children, you probably have a chance.
No, but he has a criminal record. Not necessarily he's a felon. I don't know, but he has a record. I don't know if it's domestic violent records or whatever. I have no idea, but he does, and that's what I'm working to get.
Yeah, I mean, you try to pull all that information together but even still, it's tough. I mean, if you have something that puts the kids at danger, then you could potentially have a good argument. But anything else, if he's quote unquote served his time and did his thing, then he's paid his price, right? I mean, it's like that's the way the system is supposed to work. So even that's kind of a hard argument, I mean, and it's, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be negative on this, and I think typically I'm maybe a little more, different in the way I approach it. I'm kind of being a little more harder on this one with you, but you need to kind of understand.
No, go ahead. I don't want it to be sugar-coated. Yeah, I don't want it to be sugar-coated, honestly. I want the truth. I want facts.
Yeah, I mean, and
so, yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, man, when I was going through my thing, every time it seems like every week or whatever, there was another chunk of bad information. And it was just like, holy crap. Really? I swear to God, it felt like there was the rules are this. And then it was like, caveat number 1, if you look like this knucklehead, pointing to myself for anyone listening to this, the answer is no. Everyone else, the answer is yes, but no. And, you just have to understand, the situation you're in and what you can actually accomplish. And I've talked to so many people. Actually, I haven't had this happen in a while. I used to make videos about this where people would talk about this. I mean, and even women would be like, oh my God, there's a new woman, in Billy's house every time the kids come back, there's, they've met a new chick. And it's like they have no control over your house and you have no control over their house. And your best bet is that's why on my my main website, I'll try to pull it up here. On my playlist, my third video in my Mindset for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery is Black Hole Thinking, which is basically how to deal with the fact that, they can do whatever the hell they want. And there's not much you can actually do about it. So, I mean, unless it's illegal, you can't stop them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you would have to come up with the best case interest discussion, and this is what you need to talk with your attorney about on Monday when you go talk to them, and say, okay, how do I, is there a way I can stop this? And they're going to say probably not. The only thing is if you could find something and have in the court order that Billy cannot be around your kids, and that happens sometimes, right? You could potentially get that written in. But if you're right, okay, and she's only going to deal with this guy for long enough until she's ready to move on to the next guy, then you're going to have this revolving door that your daughter is going to see her mom do this. And I've even seen it with, I got some friends of mine that their exes are doing that now. I mean, it's like every 6 months to a year, his ex has a new girlfriend, or not girlfriend, sorry. Well, I guess it could be in nowadays, but anyways, has a new boyfriend who's a drug addict or convicted felon, and domestic violence, and their kids are getting run through the ringer. Exactly what you're worried about. The problem is that you're never going to be able to sit down with your ex and say, "Hey, pumpkin, we need to focus on what's best for our child. We had a child, we had a life together. You need to pause your stupidness for at least 12 years till they turn 18, and then they're not going to do it. And a narcissistic person is you cannot sit down and have a cogent argument with or discussion with them and try to get them to focus on what's best for the kids. They're just not going to do it, dude. I beat my head against the wall many times trying to have those discussions. So
right.
Anyways,
so I guess. Okay, just give me less than a minute. I'm sorry. So call me crazy if what I'm about to say is crazy. But what if she is willing? What if she recognizes that she has a personality problem and she is willing to work with the therapist and work into improving herself? Would it be worth it for me to accept that and go through therapy, and maybe things will get better?
Go to therapy with her.
Relationship.
Go to therapy with your ex.
Yeah. Well, she's not my ex currently. We're still together. But if she's willing to go and be aware of what she's doing and be self-aware and admit that she has problems and she would want to work on them, would I take the chance?
Let me ask you, has that conversation happened? Are you just hoping?
No.
Yeah.
No,
you know what, dude?
You
You sound like me 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, if my ex would have said that, I would have tried. If your ex is willing to do it and you want to take, you want to take the risk, you can. But what's the likelihood that she's actually going to agree to that?
It's close to none.
Yeah. It's
probably not.
But I know what you're saying, man, because I used to feel that way. I was like, I used to go, excuse me. I did not think it was as bad as it is. I didn't think it was going to play out the way it did. And I was hopeful until it really turned nasty. So, a lot of people are saying, hell no, but I don't think see, here's the problem is if she says yes, you have to ask yourself the question, is she saying yes because she really wants to put in the effort to try to become better? Or is she saying yes because she realized, oh crap, I started this wrong. And this is not, most of the time, this is what happened. Oh crap, I started this separation/divorce the wrong way. So let me get back in, reset everything, and then drop the hammer when I'm ready. And that typically means you end up with a domestic violence and you get kicked out of your house and or thrown in jail for a little bit. So you have to decide whether, what the risk is. I know where you're at because, you don't want to deal with this. You don't want your child to have to deal with this. You want to have, some peace in your house. The likelihood it's going to happen is pretty low.
Right. As I said, I'm willing to forget everything. I know it's going to take time. I know it's not going to be easy, but my main focus is just not to put my daughter through this. Other than that, I really don't care about anything else, honestly. But it is what it is. I don't know. I'll figure out what is going on Monday and see if I can talk her into anything and see what we can do from there. But yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate you taking my call, talking to me for 21 minutes or so.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll keep you. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep close eye on your channel, and we'll get in touch with you later.
Yeah, and if you need to do the coaching thing, and we can talk offline, then we can get into more detail and talk about specifics, right? Obviously, you need to be careful what you say on this because it's basically out there. But, that's an option as well. All right?
Right. I appreciate it, Duane. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. Oh, man. I feel bad for that guy because I was him. And I see a lot of people, hold on, I'm trying to hit the drop button because it's not working. You know, I see a lot of people saying, you know, Volser saying, nope, no, hell no. IROC saying, hell no. Volser says she's buying time. IROC, they don't get better. It's all fake. And Ted says, do not attempt therapy with any narcissist. It will not work. Now I have a different opinion on that. I mean, cause I did try and it's kind of like even what this guy's doing is like, you have to feel like you have to feel like you actually tried. You don't want to, and that's kind of the situation I was in, right? I didn't want to just say, okay, I quit, I give up, and not feel like I tried to save the relationship. The reality is it won't work, right? Sonny says, poor caller, he's delusional and it won't work. Tim says, if she's already in counseling, she will eat you alive in the session, which is absolutely true. Happy Dog says, get educated on parental alienation. They will try and turn our own kids against you. Your own kids against you, which is absolutely true. But I mean, this guy's in the, come on guys, you got to remember that he's, you know, he hasn't even filed. He has his whole world has been obliterated. He's been working for like the last 6-7 years to get his relationship on track, you know, build his life. And his ex has just burnt everything to the ground. And like I mentioned to him earlier, a lot of times, if there's something that's really good and they feel like they don't deserve it, they will burn it to the ground until, you know, they'll make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Ted says, see the Ross Rosenberg's video on this. Do not go to therapy with any narcissist. It will not work. They will manipulate the therapist. Now, let me just jump into this or caveat this, is you have to go in with the therapy and understand it's like, okay, you have to have your boundaries respected. You need to see change. If you go to therapy and what Ted here is talking about and what the other people are talking about, then that's your answer. Then you can say, if you feel like you have to, like I said, I had to, if you feel like you have to try. And when the answer is, it ain't going to work, then you listen to the answer. And that's what I did, you know. Actually, it was a funny story on that is, you know, when we were going to marriage counseling, I remember this. I'm trying to remember how it came out. I remember talking to the ex. Wasn't the ex at the time. I remember talking to the wife and she said, I'm trying to remember. I said, well, if we're not getting anywhere, there's no reason to do marriage counseling. And she's like, well, you don't know what marriage counseling's about. And I'm like, okay, you know, and this was after I said, okay, we're done. You know, I got to the point where it's like, okay, we're done. You know, I'm going to file for divorce. We're not making any headway. I can't deal with this anymore. And then she asked us, well, are we still going to do marriage counseling? Blink, 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 blink. And I'm like, no, we did that and it didn't work and it's over. I mean, what's the point? And that conversation right there turned into, Duane wouldn't do marriage counseling. I wanted to do marriage counseling. And he said no, which is technically true because we tried marriage counseling and it didn't work. And I said, okay, I'm done. Anyways, the funny part of this story is when she said, you don't know what marriage counseling's about. And I'm like, enlighten me, pumpkin. She goes, it's for me to decide if I want to be married. And I'm like thinking to myself, freaking work for me. We went to marriage counseling. I realized I don't want to do this anymore. Anyways, I thought that was funny. Let me know in the comments. Did anyone else think that was funny? Because at the time I was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Excuse me. Oh, there's another caller. I'll go to that in a moment. Let's see. Sunny Day says, hope he listens to you here. I hope so. It's tough though, right? Because you don't want to hear this stuff. You want to believe that there's a chance that you can pull it back from the brink. And I just want to say this, and I really feel for this guy because at one point when I was working with my therapist at the time, I hate to say I did that, but I did. I needed to. And I asked them, they said something about, this. And I said, well, is there any way I can help her? And the person looked at me like I grew a third arm. And it's like, what? And I said, well, what can I do to try to, help her through this? And it's like, you can't do anything, right? So I understand what he's saying. I mean, because I didn't, nobody wants this to be our reality. We just had to make sure that we see reality as quickly as possible so that we don't continue to make mistakes. That makes sense. So let's see here. Sorry about that. I'm coughing. Hakuna says it is better to back away from counseling if you start getting re-triggered and knocks you for a 10. Yeah, that's true. But again, that's your answer, right? That's your answer saying this isn't working. I tried. It didn't work. Time to move on. Okay. Oh man. Achilles' last stand says, I didn't hit the right button. The last stop before the actual train wreck is couples counseling. Dude, I like that. That's fun. I mean, it's true. It's true. All right. Okay, so let me just double check the comments before I take the next caller. All right. Now I'm going to try the button and see if it works. And it did not. How annoying. All right, so I have to do this all manually. And might help if I hit the button. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hey, is this
Are you there?
Okay,
I'm looking to see if I haven't pushed the wrong button. Oh, it looks like it's not working. Oh well. I don't know if I should drop that or if I should. Oh, I hear you. Okay, I do not hear you, which means depending on how you're calling in, maybe your headset's not working. Am I doing something wrong here? Let's see. I'm not muted. Wait a minute. How about now?
Hey, can you hear me?
There it is. See, here's the problem. Is right in line with my microphone is a little green button that turns off all the audio except for my mic, and apparently I hit it. So I apologize. So let's try this again. Welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
Can you hear me, Duane?
I can hear you.
It's going. So I spoke with you earlier. It was like months down the line.
Okay.
And by the way, my name is Jay. So I'm calling in today. I'm trying to get advice. Since I know that you've had relationship issues with your past spouse.
Right.
So here's my relationship in a nutshell. We've been up to today. We've been married for about 3 years. We've been together physically for about 2. I've been arrested because of her accusations, saying that basically it was a domestic violence case. It got dropped, by the way. Up to today, I pretty much moved back to Florida. I was originally residing up in New York with my spouse, and it never really worked out. So as of right now, I've got a 1-year-old. It's me. It's pretty much just me taking care of her. And I guess my question to you is, what is your advice for me, since A, we're no longer together, and B, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I was FaceTiming my wife, and I just found out that she's pretty much having an affair with another guy.
So let me get some clarity. Okay, so your ex is in New York and you're in Florida, I think is what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you have physical custody of your 1-year-old?
She's with me for getting like a custody over my daughter. I don't really have like a real legit custody over her. It's just that she's with me at the time being.
For how long has she been with you?
Since
like a couple of, I mean, obviously it can't be over a year, but I mean, So how long have you, well, let me ask you this. How long have you been in Florida? How long have you been where you are now with your daughter?
I left New York since February of 2021, I believe.
You've been in Florida
So
for a
it's been
year
more
with your
than a
daughter?
year. I originally lived here. I've been here ever since 2000. I mean, this is
Dude,
my
you
hometown.
need to okay. If you have been in Florida for a year and you have physical custody of your daughter, you need to file custody paperwork in Florida. You know, because it puts you in a better position. But I think you're not completely asking that question. I think you're asking something different. So, but I just want to say that we can come back to that. So, what's your question? What are you concerned with right now?
I guess I'm not really concerned. Nothing is just so the other thing that's kind of prolonging this whole process of filing divorce is that currently right now my mom is looking after my daughter, and me being in school and respiratory therapy school. That's kind of the other issue. That's time is the issue.
Okay.
And also be bad getting into my way of schooling. That's the other issue. That's the other reason why I kind of am hesitating a little bit.
All right, I understand. Well, let me ask you this. Excuse me. Is your ex trying to say, hey, you need to send our daughter back to New York or anything like that? Or is is your ex having her life, her new boyfriend, whatever happening up in New York, and your life is relatively stable in Florida? Is that what the situation you're in?
Ever since we've been separated physically, my life has gotten way better. It's less chaotic. I can actually think. Health-wise is a lot better. And in the beginning, me and her, both of us would fight for getting custody of the child. And ever since up to this point, she's more laid back. It's confusing to me. It's like in the beginning, both you and I spoke about it, and you want to get 50-50 custody. And now it's like, hey, I'm willing to sign the paperwork for my parental rights over to you. And I guess
wait a minute, is she saying that to you or you're saying that to her?
She is saying that to me.
Wait a minute. Your ex, wait a minute, hold on a second. Your ex has said to you, I am willing to sign our daughter. I'm willing to sign away my parental rights and and give you basically full custody of everything with your daughter. Is that what happened?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you jump on that in a heartbeat?
I guess that's why I'm trying to call in today to get the best advice I can from you.
All right, let me just
right now. I know.
Okay, no, go ahead. Finish your thought, because obviously the devil's in the details.
I know that A, I'm going to file a divorce. B, I can't do it now because school's in the way. And yeah.
Okay. Well, and is she in Florida or she's in New York?
So when I first met her, we've been, we called and spoke on the phone for about like an hour a day. She resided down here for a little over 2 years. About 2 years. Then we moved to New York and I was there for like 6 months. Then child broke loose and I moved back to Florida, and I've been here ever since, back in February 2019. It's been more than a year.
Okay. And you came back with your daughter?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Here's the okay. I understand that you don't want to create more chaos, right? And I get it. And that's when you were first talking about that. You're like, I think what you were saying is like things are relatively stable. I don't really want to stir the hornet's nest. I want to get done with my schooling so I can get my career going. I get that. But if your ex is willing to sign over her rights, and if that's the case, then that means she probably also wants a divorce. Dude, I would jump on that and do that immediately. because at least if you do that, then you have her out of the picture. You know, that your mom can still watch your daughter and help you, give you time to go to school. You can still do your thing. And, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Why are you worried about that?
I guess that's why I'm calling today, because at this point I'm kind of confused and lost.
Or do you still care about her, and you want the relationship to? You're hoping that it'll reconcile. Is that what's going on?
Up to this point, I've seen the type of person she is. I mean, the reason why our marriage never worked in the first place was because of financial issues.
Mm-hmm.
And the second reason why it never worked is because she got me arrested, and it's like I just couldn't believe, that this shit is happening to me. Man,
dude, somebody else mentioned earlier, said this guy's winning and doesn't even realize it. I'm trying to pull this up on the screen. You are winning and you don't realize it. What I would recommend you do is, chat with an attorney or get the paperwork signed, do whatever you have to do if she's willing to sign over the rights and do basically an uncontested divorce. And if she's saying, hey, you can have full custody of little Jamie, and, I'm ready to sign it right now. You stay in Florida. That's great. I would hit that before she changes her mind, because you do that. You remove the chaos out of your life. I mean, this person has already showed you she's a train wreck. You said at the beginning of the call that she got you arrested, even though it's been resolved. I mean, you went through that. So you know the type of person that she is. If she is willing to basically stay out of you and your child's life, you have the best opportunity to rebuild your life, and you have the best opportunity to make sure that your daughter doesn't turn into her mother when she gets older. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's what scares me the most.
I hear you on that, but most situations you can't get the other person out. So they are constantly involved. If she's willing to sign that, dude, I would do that. What's your family telling you? I mean, are you getting support from anybody, or is anybody telling you not to do this? Or, I mean, where are you getting conflicting advice?
It's not, my parents overall, they're telling me to do it. After this point, I've pretty much stayed on the sideline and watch her, analyze her actions, see what she's doing. And up to this point, it's like clear to me now that, that it's over. It's been over. I mean, in the midst of this relationship, she was pretty much the first one that, brought up to my attention that, hey, we need to get divorced 2 times. And it's like, you say this, but your action doesn't, you can say this one day, but next, like, it's totally different. And that's the thing about her. It's like, she says this, but she never
see, you already know what you're dealing with. If I was you, I would, like I said, next week, if she's serious, I would get that signed, sealed, delivered, done, work with an attorney on it if you can, and just get it in. Some people are commenting saying that there's some caveats where it could be a problem, but the reality is if you do it appropriately, I mean, she could come back later and say, well, I didn't mean to do that. You forced me to, whatever, but at least then the battle's different. See, here's the reality right now. What she could do, your ex could do, excuse me, or not your ex, your wife, because you guys are still married. She could say, hey, I'm going to come down and I want to take little Cindy and to see, my parents and stuff. Come down, get your daughter, take her back up to New York, and file for custody there. And then you're going to have to be going to New York, and you're going to have to be fighting a custody battle there. So if you're in a situation where she's willing to just sign off, and that, dude, that's not uncommon. My ex-brother-in-law, that's what happened to him. He got married, had 2 kids, and his wife freaked out and left him. And he was a single father, raising 2 kids full time and 2 boys. He ultimately got remarried and stuff. And every so often, mom would come in the picture and see the kids and basically stir up a hornet's nest and then disappear again. So, I mean, it's not uncommon that this happens. If your wife is willing to do this, I would jump on that in a heartbeat, because then it protects you and it protects your daughter. Now, let's say in 5 years or 2 years, she finds God, she gets help, she goes to therapy, she does something, and she comes down to you and says, "Hey, I was a train wreck. I've gotten better. I want to know my daughter." You have the opportunity to make decisions. But right now, you don't. You don't even have any orders. She could come down tomorrow and take her daughter. So you're in a unique position on this that I would definitely look into. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Is, I do, and also I've already talked to an attorney, and I was in the past before schooling started. I went to the courthouse and I had spoke to legal aid, and I was in the process of trying to file divorce on my own. Everything, I was informed of what I needed to do, and in the process of doing it, I spoke to her to see if she can come down and sign the paperwork. In the process of doing that, she kind of made things worse. She was hesitating.
Okay. And I wouldn't even try to get her to come. I mean, send her the paperwork and have it signed where she's at. I mean, she might have to get it notarized or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need to see if she's willing to. I mean, who knows? Maybe she's lying to you and she's not really going to, maybe she's not being honest. Maybe she's just emotionally messing with you. But the reality is,
that's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the thing about her, because everything she says, she's not, it just changes. You say this and one day and then the next day it just changes. Like, then you just said this the other day, so which one is it? Like, can you be, forward with me?
So, all right, let me back up. Let me tell you this, right? Because I get what you're saying. So this is what I would recommend you do, right? If she's willing to give up custody or her parental rights, if she'll sign it and date it, do it. If not, if it's like she screws around, then I think what you're asking is like, okay, well, I can press the button on this and she's unstable and she's probably going to change her mind and this is going to turn into a complete shit show. If that's the case, then leave things the way they are. The only caveat would be double check what the alimony requirements are for your area, right? So like in California, if you've been married over 10 years, there's alimony for life. I don't know if Florida has that. So double check with that, find out what the issues were with that. And if that's the case, if she's going to just make your life, if you push the button or you push it, she's going to make it more difficult. Finish school, keep things as stable as possible, wait until you're in a better position and then file. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So I see somebody saying, DSD, if the mother is willing to sign over, then she doesn't love her children, is unable to parent. Either way, the child needs a good, consistent, loving parent. But I agree with him, but what this person is saying, but I also think she just may enjoy the chaos, and that's why she tells you certain things and then changes her mind, right? And so, I think you have a way forward, right? You test the waters to see if she's serious. If she's serious, sign it, uncontested divorce, file the paperwork and be done. If she's not, and she's like, well, I want this, I want that, or, everything starts to fall apart, then just back away. Don't push it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep, I do.
But if she will, then that's a good thing. Now, one of the people is saying, Tiffany is saying, mother has more rights in Florida. I'm not entirely sure what that means, and that Florida has some funky laws, and that coercive control by staying, he forced her to sign her rights away and then left with the kid. The false allegations hurt. Anyways, I'm not exactly sure what they're saying on that, but double check what legally, if you can do this. And if you can, try it, kind of like put it out there casually, Like, hey, you said you wanted to sign away. I'm going to send you the paperwork, sign it, and just wait for her to check with an attorney to find out what she needs to do. See if it happens.
Yeah.
And if she does, fine. And if she doesn't, then just back off and finish your respiratory therapy, not certification or degree or whatever it is. And because you don't need any extra drama when you're trying to finish that. I get that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So do you got a way forward? You know what you're gonna do? You know what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I've got a plan. I've got everything figured out. Just moving one step at a time.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for calling. Good luck, dude.
All right. Thank you.
My buttons still aren't working. So yeah, Tiffany, try to explain a little bit more what you're talking about, because I'm not sure what the trap is. Tiffany said, DSD, it's a trap. So what do you know that I'm missing? Because obviously I'm missing something, I think. So let's see. Yeah, I agree with Up Your Food Game says, no talking, get it all in writing, then assess. Absolutely. Oh, I like this. Practical is tactical. Practical is tactical, but you still need control over your own head. Step back. Don't follow the Kramer versus Kramer BS. You're like, yeah, that's pretty funny. That's an old movie, by the way, if people don't understand what the reference is. All right. Are we up on, well, we're close to 2 hours. Let's see here. I'm going to see if Tiffany adds some more information. Let's see, John. Whoops, John. Whoa, wrong. I hit the wrong button. Oh, Tiffany says she's going to claim that dad forced her to sign, claiming to be the victim. I probably, but if he does it legally, and if she can in Florida sign away her rights, then she'd have to turn around and try to argue that. But I get it. I mean, shoot, me and my ex, not talking about custody, but we signed signed to take money out of the 401k. She notarized it, knew exactly what we were doing. We were talking about, it's like, all right, we're going to get separated. Let's pull this money out, pay off the bills. We'll all be zero. And the next thing is like, oh, I didn't know about that. It's like, it was notarized. You had to, but yeah, she tried to play that, but I mean, it didn't work. In California, it didn't work. So, I mean, rest assured, no matter what you do, the ex is going to make up another story. I would absolutely say that probably she will say, if let's say this did play out with what the caller was talking about, I'm sure the ex would say, oh, Billy is, he manipulated me and forced me to do this. And I never wanted to do this, but, I'm the victim. But, I mean, that's just what they do. That is what they do. Achilles' Last Stand says, don't act like a half-dead mouse. You'll be treated like one. Man, ain't that the truth. Seize upon the moment, dude. I think the underlying thing that he didn't necessarily articulate early on is that she's inconsistent. His ex, or his wife, sorry, is inconsistent in what she's saying. So she'll say one thing and then turn around 2 days later and be like, oh, I didn't say that, or no, I've changed my mind. And he's trying to figure out how to deal with the chaos. So I think that's the underlying problem with it, is that he probably doesn't know whether if he pushes that button, she's actually going to agree to it. And he's wondering if it's going to blow up in his face. So, and I get it. I understand that. Because these people absolutely cannot make things easy at all. Never. Let's see. Tiffany says, parental kidnapping is serious business. He needs to protect himself. Oh, God. Yeah. Both ways, right? I mean, if she turns around and, because I don't know if you're saying this, Tiffany, but she could turn around and say, oh my God, he did this and ran off with the child in Florida. And, won't let me see our 1-year-old and blah. I mean, what mother walks away from their 1-year-old? Holy crap. Anyways, yeah. Ugh. Oh, ML says, here, let me do this. If you want to call in, ML, the phone line is still open, and the number is 1-424-373-5483. Let's see if I can do 1-424-373-5483. I'll put it in the chat. And yeah, call in. You could be the last caller of the show, because that'll put me at about 2 hours, and that'll probably wrap it up. We still got like 40 people hanging out on this. That's outstanding. Tiffany's saying, exactly. Yeah, I understand the dilemma on that. I mean, and honestly, that's the reason, not the reason, but one of the reasons why I limit what I do with the X is because of the chaos it creates. If I went, excuse me, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that right in the microphone. If I went back to court to say, hey, you're working now, and I'm, child support's all based off of you not working, and, hey, give me some of my money back. And oh, by the way, the Gavron warning says, you need to be able to, child or alimony's not supposed to be your retirement. Anyways, I digress. Sai says she can come back and say it was under duress and change her mind. The thing, yeah, she could say that, but if it's stamped and filed with the court, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder for her to back out of that. So that is why that would be very important to go ahead and mash the button on. But again, I get it. If she's just, guys, here's the thing. She could be just saying that just to F with him, just to frickin' mess with his mind. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to wait a little bit longer for the caller. And if not, then I'll start wrapping it up. Unless somebody has a question they want to do in the chat. Up Your Food Game says, Duane, I haven't heard the term gray rock. I don't say that term because the person who coined it threatened to sue me, and because they wanted me to give them like my entire channel to them because I said it once. So that was an interesting experience. And then actually it was kind of funny because then they started going off on me like, well, if you really cared about people, you would do this, you would give me everything and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, you're out of your effing mind. Anyways, I digress. This aspect of our sanity, let me put this back on the screen. Defense and effectiveness can never be underestimated or forgotten. Write it on your bathroom mirror. Get a tattoo. All right, let's see here. Let me try to pull up this last caller. Hopefully let's see. Let me try to see if this works. And it didn't, so. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, Duane, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Finally managed to get on. I'm using two separate phones. I'm calling from the UK, so I was trying two separate phones to take a little bit of time to get on to you.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's working. What's going on?
Well, I don't know if you remember this conversation. New Year's Eve 2020. It's a long
time ago. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I came on the call. I think it was the New Year's Eve show. I think it was the first call on that show. And we spoke about my situation here in the UK. The family had, and this will remind you, hopefully, the family had basically literally said, we just want him to commit suicide so we can take his house and his child.
I don't completely remember the details, but that doesn't surprise me. Obviously, that didn't happen.
I know many calls. Well, that didn't happen. No, I will say there's a lot of callers on the chat right now. I've got the other phone running as well, so I can see the chat. Tiffany, if you're there, how you doing? All these callers, they've actually spoke to me on the Discord, so they know me as Moish, and you'll probably know me from there as well.
Okay.
The channel, the UK channel. So, give you a little lowdown. It's taken 22 months and a lot of court hearings. To finally get my child back into my life. I've got 50-50 custody.
Okay, dude, I got to do this. That is awesome. Man, that is Great. You know, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Good for you, dude. Good for you.
I've been so I had 6 false allegations put against me. And all false allegations were proven in a fact-finding, what we call a fact-finding here in the UK. And they were all proven false. And 3 allegations were put on by me. Hi, Tiff. I've just seen the chat. And all 3 allegations were proved to be true. And one of those allegations was parental alienation. In the UK, parental alienation is not recognized as abuse.
Yeah.
It's not recognized as anything, to be fair. There is a small recognition of a child who's been manipulated to hate a parent. And again, it's very rarely recognized.
Mm-hmm.
But my child was 3.5 months at the time. And at the time when I actually lodged the case, it was 3.5 months. I actually managed to see her for an hour a week after her 10th month. And we built a bond using what we have in here, we call contact centers in the UK.
Nice.
And I started building a bond with her. And she is absolutely amazing. She'll come on the show one day, hopefully. But we obviously built a bond, and over a period of nearly 10 months, where I was in these contact centers 1 hour every 2 weeks. It was hell.
Yeah.
It has been hell. 6 allegations of abuse were all thrown out. The mother was proven to be a liar. And all 3 allegations were proven to be true. Now, that's something that's never happened in the UK here. Parental alienation found.
Wow,
where the
really?
baby is concerned.
Nice.
So it's really crazy 22 months. My life has been kind of on hold. Can you hear me still?
I can.
Yeah. Life has been literally on hold. I know the DSD Discord group. Some of those guys are absolutely amazing. They've kind of held me together, so to speak. And yes, parental alienation proved, and the mother was told to let me see the child last May. She took another 3.5 months not letting me see my daughter. I'm still in contact centers. She messed about all the professionals and went back to a hearing in September, and fantastic. They said, right, if you do this again, you're going to prison. Or you'll have a very, very huge fine, and you'll pay my court costs if I have to come back to court again.
Outstanding.
The mother agreed to let me see my daughter in my own environment at my own house. She then started coming to me. It was a stepped-up approach, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. And it went up to overnight stay. And in October, she stayed over for the first time overnight. And the following day, my mum met her for the first time. So, she met her at nearly 17 months for the first time, or 18 months was it, for the first time in her life. She met her grandmother. And it's been absolutely amazing ever since then. We went back to court again in February. And the judge, so basically the social workers in the courts, they looked at my proposition, which was a 50-50 shared split on a 2-2-5-5 basis. And her opinion was to go for a 3-4-3-4. Sorry, the court's opinion was to go for a 3-4-3-4, a 7 out of 14 kind of thing, 50-50. And the mother's opinion was obviously a lot less, because the less you get, the more child maintenance you have to pay. So basically,
dude, and that is amazing.
Somebody says I used to. So basically, the court said, actually, no, we agree with what the father's saying, and they agreed with everything I said. And effectively, I got everything I wanted, and my daughter now spends it's a step.
Oh my God, dude!
2 nights, and then she's doing 3 nights, and then she's doing 2-2-5-5 with the schedule I asked for, not what the mother asked for, not what the Kafka, the courts asked for. They did my schedule: 2-2-5-5, 2 days with me, 2 days with the mother, 5 days with me, 5 days with the mother.
Dude, that is.
And she's been told that if she,
my face is hurting from smiling listening to this story. That is outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely amazing result. She's an absolutely amazing little kid. And yeah, she's here with me. Usually Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. She's with me at the moment, and she's loving it. She gets on absolutely fantastic with the family. The whole attempt at parental alienation hasn't worked. She's got a fantastic bond with me, and started with the parental side of the family. But more importantly, there's a lot of callers there who go through this crap, and you go through this shite of a, forgive my French here, yeah, but you go through all of this and the hardest thing is to carry on. I'm going to say to everybody out there, carry on. It's hard, it's tough, it breaks you down, but you know what? That child needs you, so you carry on.
Dude, outstanding advice, dude. I don't even know what else to say. That is, you know, I mean, you had the worst, one of the worst case scenarios, supervised visitation, and you still were able to turn it around. Dude, that means the perseverance that shows that you had, and that's amazing. That right there. That's what this whole channel is about, man. Dude, I don't even know what else to say.
Some of the callers on there, yeah. There's some of the callers in there, like Merge, for example. I've been trying to get a hold of you, matey. Anytime, email me. Debbie, all of these people are amazing on the Discord. Anybody's got a problem, they're there. The main person who seems to be there pretty much all the time is like an IT guy like me, the wizard. He's always there.
He is.
And, you know, it's an amazing channel. So, Duane, I want to thank you for all the hard work you put into these channels. You probably don't see a lot of successes, and they probably happen in the background, and you get, you know, tied up with the kids and all the rest of it, and you don't see the success. So I wanted to come on here and just say, thank you very much, everybody in the group.
I really appreciate you doing that. And it just,
I think
I
sometimes
really
you need that
appreciate
good
it.
to come out in the end.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need the good news to come out. You know, you hear all these reviews on Amazon, they're all negative, right? Nobody ever puts a good review up. Well, you know what? This is a good review, yeah? We've been through the system, and I don't know if obviously you know this, but through the groups, obviously I created the UK channel. You created the UK channel for me. But from the UK channel, lots of people have contacted me directly, and I actually provide a support organization here in the UK for those people who are going through the same shit. So I do it off my back, like yourself. I don't do it for any money or anything like that. But a lot of people are now kind of my clients, so to speak. And I help them go through the process and beat the legal system that's there to destroy dads.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately,
you know,
it is. Dude, that is amazing.
Yeah, I've got some amazing. Yeah, it's you know what? Thank you, Duane. Thank you.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for so much for calling and sharing that. I appreciate it. Hey, have a great. Oh my God, it's like really late where you are. It's like what, 1 or 2 in the morning, right?
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning.
Dude, thanks for calling and sharing that. You really made my day. You know, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Duane. I appreciate that. And thanks everybody in the group. I want to say it once again, thanks everybody in the group. I will be on the Discord channel, on the UK channel in a bit, and just wanted to update everybody there as well. But I thought I'll update you live today.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for calling, man. That is an amazing way to end this show tonight. Oh my God. That's awesome. Guys, we've had a few stories tonight where it's been some successes out of it we talked about, but that right there is it, right? I mean, a crappy situation, everyone's saying, you know, you're basically going to lose. Supervised visit, you know, an hour at a time, and slowly, methodically, and for what he was saying, I mean, for the UK courts to turn around and say all her allegations are lies, we do think parental alienation is going on, and oh, by the way, Mom, if you do this again, you're going to jail. I mean, that's, you know what, and that's a testament to this guy's perseverance and just basically eating a crap sandwich all the time until he was able to turn this around. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm just kind of like, I'm flabbergasted. That's amazing. What I do want to bring up though, is he was talking about the Discord. Oh, my little icon went away. Come on. What's going on here? Is it here? Oh no. Did my Discord icon go away? Okay. In the comments of this, in the description of this video, there's a link for an invite for the DSD Discord. So it's off Facebook. It's a separate thing, but there's a community of people who hang out there, really supportive. I wish I could, I can't read everything that goes on there. I can't even keep up with the comments on my videos half the time. I thought that I had a button here. Why is this not, I can't. Okay. All right. So it is there. I just can't see it. So if you go to the main YouTube page, the DSD YouTube page, in the banner under the subscribe now button, which you all should subscribe, there is a link to join the Discord there as well. So do that. And I want to acknowledge, let me flip back over here real quick. And I want to acknowledge Tiffany's super chat. It says, congratulations, great news. Man, it is. I appreciate the super chat, Tiffany. Thank you so much for that. I'm kind of at a loss. That's a great story. That is outstanding. Anyways, I'm almost speechless. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Can't do this. I'm looking to see if there's any comments I want to highlight real quick before we get out of here. I favorited a comment. Oh, I was going to do this one. Summer Lane asks, what do you mean by that? A Gavron warning. Okay, so in California, I wonder if I can search on this. California Gavron order custody or family court. Let me see if I can. Family court, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can pull this up on the screen. Hit the right button. So a Gavron warning is a notice issued by the court to a supported spouse, which states that he or she is expected to become self-supporting. A Gavron warning is frequently used to the supported spouse at a time the spousal support order is made. So I don't know exactly what it means. But my understanding is, I got this. Oh my God, the sun's, I forgot to close my window. The Gavron, my understanding is basically an official notice saying, hey, you have to become self-sufficient so that you can start either lowering or removing spousal support. So even, my ex, like for my situation in California, after 10 years, if you've been married for 10 years, it's alimony for life. The Gavron warning is a mechanism to start trying to reduce that or eliminate it. So I don't know. Technically, I don't know exactly how it works. I'm going to have to find out though. Anyways. Oh, I got another super sticker. Hold on. Let me go back to all comments. Alan did a super sticker and it says it's a hippo character going really fast on his chair, propelling the chair across the room. Okay, I just have to show this. This is hilarious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to go like this because it's hilarious. This is what we're talking about. Let's see. Can I make it bigger? Isn't that funny? I like the super stickers, and I always get a kick when I have to read it. So on my other software, I'll just pull it up because it's funny as hell. It doesn't show it. It just says it. So it's like, quote, the hippo character going really fast, propelling across the room in a chair. That is hilarious. Oh, okay. So let me turn that off and go back over here. Let's see. Remember, this is about children getting the best. Oh, Second Horizon says, remember, this is about children getting the best possible, did you say possible outcome, maybe? And Reagan, I can't even pronounce that name, says, absolutely, Second Horizon. Up Your Food Game says, amen to that. All right, guys. On that, we passed the 2-hour mark. Maybe I'll make this a podcast. But what I am going to do right now is go like this. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me tonight. Thanks for all the phone calls, people calling in and sharing their stories. It's always cool to get that. And I also want to, hopefully this button will work, say thank you to, is it going to play? All the people who've become channel members to support the channel. I really appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on, keeps things going. I mean, actually, these stories is what really helps. But on that, have a great rest of your night, rest of your morning, depending on where you are on the planet. And sign up for the notifications